What up, YouTube? Asian Persuasion here, and I'm here with my boy Slim.
You already know.
And we're here at Nationals 2022 here in North America, in Chicago. And we're here with my boy Ryan Yu, who just got second place playing what deck, my friend?
I played Sky Striker.
He played Sky Strike. He lost the anti-skill and a lot of negate cards.
It happens, yeah.
It happens. Well, you did really good this weekend. You want to start off with any shout-outs?
Yeah, so first, probably biggest shout out to my family for always being there and coming as well. Aside from that, shout out to Brian. We made the list together the past couple of weeks. We both played it. Unfortunately, he lost last round of day one, but we both
to the mirror of all things.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
we both think the deck was really good, wouldn't change anything. And then I think I'll do a couple like small shout outs as things come up in the profile.
Yeah.
But
Okay, yeah.
That's the main stuff.
For sure.
And
Yeah. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's see it.
So monsters, 3 copies of Ray. It's very broken. 2 copies of Rose. There are some people that play 3, some people that play 1. We felt that 2 was fine because you really don't want to open too many pilots or you're just draw unplayable. But at the same time, the games where you don't draw any pilots, you just auto lose, and especially against the Punk 5-Rax decks, when they go for the setup with 5-Rax and Dagda, as long as you have 1 pilot, it doesn't matter if it's rare or rose. If you get to play, you're going to win no matter what. So it's really important to stay engine. And this card's also very good for making Lina, which we'll talk about later. For the hand traps, we played 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, 3 Veiler, and 2 Nibiru. So this is all pretty standard, 3 Ash, mainly because Despia is a pretty bad matchup, very generic. Ogre because it hits Fateful. This trades really well with Fateful on its own, or especially Fateful with Souls, because they wasted 2 cards from their hand to summon 2 monsters. Veiler is generic. It works with all of your other negations for things like Dark, Unicorn Access Code. It's very important for Fiber. And then 2 Nibiru. I was very opposed to this in the beginning. This was supposed to be 3, I think, because this card's very strong this format against the combo decks. But I think you can explain a little bit on why we're playing 2 of this instead of 3.
So, in like any other deck, you can just play Nibiru and use it like a combo piece for like Fiber. But Fiber is our like kill shot combo, not like our like setup combo. Also, this deck doesn't have a lot of reliable ways to like get it off the board, so we decided to just play 2 because it's only good in conjunction with 9 cards in our deck, which are these 2 plus our last hand trap, which is Impermanence. So that's why we felt like we only needed 2. And there was a lot of times that I was playing 3 and I was just drawing like double and it just like wasn't very good. Like it doesn't serve the same purpose in other decks as it does like with this deck. So yeah,
it's really a problem when you have multiples of this card or when you draw into it like late game post turn 1. Because a lot of the late game matches against decks that play Selene and Access Code, their win condition is Dark taking your rare, so you can't survive the battle phase with Kena. And usually late game, they have so many resources that they can play around Nibiru very easily, which makes it a dead card in your hand, whereas one of these hand traps or something that's more mid-range, that might not be as powerful turn 1, gets you there in the late game, because it's more reliable. So that's all the monsters. For the spells, 1 Engage, 1 Hornet Drones, 1 Multi-Roll, 1 Area 0, 3 Widow Anchor, 1 Shark Cannon, 1 Afterburner for the Sky Striker spells. This is all pretty standard, except for this maybe. We were initially playing 2 of this, and for quite a while we were testing it. But we ended up finding ourselves siding it out a lot, because post-game 1, when they might make you go first, this is a very dead card. Especially against all the decks that do stuff in the main phase, like all of the 5-Rax decks. Anything like that, you really don't want Afterburner in your hand because it will never get you there. It's not as good as being able to Widow Anchor something in standby, or some of the other spells we play that are to help counter 5-Rax decks. And with good resource management, you never really need the second one against the decks where you have to pop a spell trap.
we also side that card out every single time going like game 2 and 3 because there's no reason to keep it in. The only matchup we sided it in against was just Sorcel. I would have kept it in against, so we just felt like we just didn't need the second one at all.
Yeah, it's a good card, but definitely not one of the key pieces of the deck. So for the best card in the deck, copies of Mystic Mine and Terraforming. I actually didn't resolve mine that much, but whenever I did, it was complete game. I guess I'll show the other spells: 2 Prosperity, 2 Droplet, and then 2 Offerings to the Doomed. So this is for mine. The problem with mine is that if people know you're playing Sky Striker, they can set up their combo in a way where they hold Draco back in their hand, and then add the Arameser. So once you mine them, you break their board. They just summon token, Draco back, bounce mine, and you're dead. So this card was the way that we decided to try to deal with that, because you can set it when you have mine up, and then you just destroy the token when they equip the Draco back, and then you can deck them out game mode. This card's also super strong when they know it's Sky Striker, because we wanted to make the list to be able to do well in Top Cut and go far. So when people make you go first, this is a very solid interrupt against the right token, because it turns off Draco back, it makes Griffin worse. You can also hit like 5 racks, you can hit Red Rose, you can hit anything they normally special summon. It's a super good trade. It also can come up to pop your own links, dodge effect negation. Droplet was very solid, so still only 2, because you want to have a bunch of different spell cards in this deck to draw into and be able to use. You don't want 3 of Prosperity especially, because you can only really resolve 1 per game. The second one is never getting used. But all of these were very good. This is a super important consistency piece. Definitely have to play 2. Droplet was amazing. Whether or not you have mine, you can just Droplet, break the board, because you're playing a deck that has so many spells and is so good at going second. So,
yeah, this card was just like super free because you're playing just like all the disposable spells in your deck. Yeah, this was like honestly my only like big contribution for the deck, and I felt like it was really good times I was able to play.
No, definitely. We got the initial idea from offering from Carl Manigat's YCS Charlotte deck. He was playing Striker, and when we were trying to build the initial draft of the list a few weeks ago, we were thinking, okay, how can we make a Mystic Mine a more viable card, and how can we also make our deck better when they force us to go first? So we went back through some stuff, and we ended up finding this, and it was great.
Yeah. Also, one last thing, the funniest part about this card is, if your deck is like similar in count, this also skips 2 of your draw phases, so they could try to play it out thinking like, oh, they're gonna deck out first, like they're gonna have to play eventually. But then you just like flip this on your own monster, or on any monster they have, and then like you're playing 42 cards. So it's like,
that actually does come up. It's really funny.
It does come up,
because they'll waste the entire game thinking you're gonna deck out until you skip a draw phase.
Exactly.
They're gonna be salty.
And then last spell, Rhoda, traps 3 Imperm, 1 Metaverse. Not much to say here. Imperm's very strong. Metaverse, another good card for going first, and it's another copy of Mystic Mine. It helps you dodge if someone's maining like 1 Cosmic Cyclone to out your Mystic Mine. Once you eventually get to Mine and Metaverse, you just seal the game. So this was very strong.
Yeah, basically it serves the same role as Offerings to the Doom, where it's like they can Offerings target your Mine, and you can chain this, so you have technically 1 extra turn to like counter the Draco back. Like you can Afterburners pop it or find a way to destroy it somehow. So yeah, that was also like the reason why. Other than that, it's just being a good card in general.
Yeah, so 40 min for the extra deck. 3 copies of Kagari. Shout out to Dylan Fricker. This is his German, that's why there's the mismatch. He wasn't able to come to Nationals, but I got his Kagari and I was able to use it very well. So big shout outs to Dylan. 3 Shiz, 2 Hayate, 1 Kena, 1 Zeke. This is really standard. The third one doesn't come up enough over the other cards in the extra deck here, but this was pretty much perfect. All of these cards are very standard. For the rest, Dark, Lina, 5X, Celine, Access. These are pretty self-explanatory. It just gives you a kill shot. Dark and Lina are both super good. Dark is very obviously, you can have Ray, you can have Partner Drones, you can have something with Widow, because Dark is a very common attribute. You can oftentimes go like Dark, summon a Red Rose from their grave, and that's a tuner, so you can pivot with these into 5X. And Lina, I think you want to explain?
Oh yeah, so we decided to play Lina. I don't remember what it was like before this, but this was really good because like a lot of the times you just have like a Striker Link plus Rose, and there's like nothing else you can make beside like just Zeke, which doesn't really do anything if you're just trying to clear like, or just trying to go for a game shot. So Lina was just like super broken. And against Sword Soul, there's a line where you can do if you have like 2 spells and traps to destroy with 2 pilots, where this would just be a 1-card OTK with access code and 2 monsters, because you just summon their Basha and you pop everything you have. So you end with 2 pilots plus access code, so it's a clean 83. And that comes up a lot against Sword Soul.
Yeah, they also have Chisha, they have Ashina, Ghost Ogre is also in the format. So Lina was really good. For the side, 3 copies of Token Collector. I guess he was here.
He was here.
I mean, it's a very strong card. It's just for Sword Soul because that deck can really either go first or go second to you and try to kill you, and this is something that for the entire game keeps them impressed. You don't really side it in for any of the other matchups though. 2 copies of Crow. This was mainly a concession for Despia and Marincess, because we think both of those are very bad matchups. Marincess just really easily outgrinds you. They also play Gozen match, they play Talents, so it's pretty much just a nightmare. And then for Despia, this is very straightforward. The problem with the Despia matchup is that if they get to resolve their Brandon Red on your turn, they can go an extra Masquerade, they go Mirror Jade, they go, even if you negate the Mirror Jade, they send another Albion, they have Snow Engrave, there's a million cards, and you're just going to get pushed for damage. And this is also super good in the mirror match and against some variants of the Punk deck, because they use their entire hand to go dag their health, and then you can just Crow the Scythe, and they have a Wonder Magician and a Dagda that do nothing. So this was amazing.
Speaking of like losing mirror matches, this is actually how I lost the last round of day 1. The only way I could play was I needed to Cosmic Cyclone 2 cards, offering to the Doom his Striker Link, and I had to Shark Cannon summon his Pilot. And he ended up just eating Crowing my 3rd spell, and I just passed because I couldn't draw next turn, so I just like straight up lost. This card is really good.
So good in the mirror match. When you banish Engage, they can play around your back row variously. There's back row removal cards, there's Afterburner. You can even play around Veiler by going Battle Phase, but there's just no counterplay to this card. And it's gone for the game, so it's very crazy. 3rd Nibiru. This was, we put this in post side because when people make you go first, this is probably the best card you can have, since it's the most high impact, and if you get to Shiz Search, usually you'll be able to deal with your own Nibiru next turn. And you have Widow Anchor, your Droplet, your Offering, you have all the hand traps. This card, if you draw it, you'll pretty much always have a way to make it resolve through a Griffin Rider or a Baron. So that was very strong. 2 Twin, 2 Cosmic. These were both very good. This was to make sure that we would have enough to side in for various situations. The Cosmics came in the most. The theory was that against decks like Dragon Link, or against the Punk decks, we would side in some combination of Cosmic, Crow, and Nibiru for post side, because if they make you start, Cosmic is able to trade with Fateful, and that making their Armiser into a token generator is very strong because you just go so minus from Fateful resolving. This can also hit cards like a Boot Sector, Ravine.
That's the craziest one, yeah. Boot Sector.
Boot Sector, yeah.
Oh my god.
So that was very good in terms of being able to play first and second. This also hitting Scythe is crazy. The fact that Cosmic can do so much is why we had to play it instead of just 3 twins. And 2 is just because of the siding pattern. Usually we take on Mystic Mine pretty much every game post side, because everyone expects you to be leaning on Mystic Mine for the entire match, and then they side in the back removal, and it's a brick in their hand and you hand trap them. So that was very good. Usually it's, for example, against Dragon Link, it's these 3, and you take out 2 mines in Metaverse. You keep 1 mine in for Terraforming Prosperity, but for the most part, you don't want to rely on that engine.
I don't fight about Gozen match the Cosmics.
Oh yeah.
It was actually from Marincess.
We also had to play Twin Twister. It was mainly for backrow decks like Eldritch. Brandon Eldritch did decently well. This was also Marincess. Marincess is such a scary matchup. Rogue like Salamangreat, the mirror match. It was very good. And also for Short Soul, because they play Floodgates, I guess. But, you know.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Didn't know that until this weekend.
And then the last 5 cards are 3D Barrier, 2 Bearcan. This is mainly for Despia, not Sword Soul. Otherwise, it would probably be 3 of this, or maybe some other form of back removal for Sword Soul. But the plan was, we need to have as many cards against Despia that let us steal that matchup. And this also overlaps into the Sword Soul deck, because if they make you go first and you barrier them, it's game. Most of the time, if you go second, you have this and you can break their board. You don't even have to end on anything. You just go Shiz, barrier, and you win. And this card, it wasn't in our list until Thursday night, right before submission. It was something that we had been talking about for like the weeks when we were making the deck, and we ended up putting it in last minute because we wanted to have something for Marincess, because that matchup is really, you can't overstate how bad it is. And it's also very good against Flunder. Flunder, pretty easy matchup for this deck, but especially when you have these types of cards to side in. Even if you get janked one game by Shifter or maybe just not drawing well, you should probably be fine in the end. And this card like single-handedly won 2 top cut matches against Flunder and Marincess.
Yeah, you played a top 4, right?
Yeah, I played Elijah with Marincess in top 4. Game 1, I just got completely smashed, matchup diff. And then game 2, I let him start. He goes Marbled Rock, set up with the field spell, equip, and set goes in. And I had like Ray, Rose, like not amazing, but I had this. So I set this and I kept setting roses and I flipped this up. Then eventually I ripped a Cosmic for his Gozen. And then my Aries are hit engage, so I just steamrolled from there and I had this on the field the entire time so we couldn't play. And then last, this is the token. Shout out to all the guys in Toronto. Yeah, they're always there. Always appreciate their support. And yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, it was awesome to see you up there. Next time you're gonna get it for sure. Like you just play. It was just amazing to see you up there. And yeah, congratulations on getting second place. Thank you for the deck.
Thank you.